Hey honey buns, and what is up? Happy Vlogmas Somas season, okay? Today we are going to be making a mermaid dress, so grab your scissors and let's get started. Honey Bun TV. Okay, honey buns, everything you're going to need is going to be listed in the description box below, of course. But until then, you know that you are going to be needing some fabric, as well as some scissors, measuring tape, and a zipper, and of course, your pattern. Now, I'm just going to show you something here real quick. I have two two-way stretch fabric, okay? Now, typically, and a lot of times when you get fabric, it's a four-way stretch. But if you ever run into buying a two-way stretch fabric, it only means that it can stretch two ways. As you can see here, one side is more stretchy than the other, okay? So just remember that when you're buying fabric and looking at the description box. Now, what I am getting ready to do here, I have approximately 5 yards of fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off by cutting the easiest pieces, which are going to be my arms as well as my collar. Now, if your pattern doesn't ensue and or have a turtleneck, you don't have to worry about cutting nothing besides the arms. Also, in case you don't know, it is so much easier to cut your fabric on a fold for certain pieces. That way you're not stuck having to cut one piece by one piece. And keep in mind, I said for certain pieces. After I finish cutting out my arms as well as my collar, I am now going to get ready to start cutting out my dress. Now, we are going to be freestyling, making us a little pattern to go ahead because this is going to be mermaid style. So the first thing that I am going to do is just set my pattern on top of my fabric, and then I'm going to measure how long do I want my dress in the front. So you see here where I'm pointing, this pattern comes down to about 2 inches above my knee. I want to add about, I want to say 28 inches of length in the front because I don't want my dress to drag too much in the front. That's what the back is for. So as you can see here, I'm measuring from 2 inches above my knee and down to the ground, and I got 28 inches. You can do however long you want to though. Once I am finished with measuring down how long in the length that the fabric will be with the added 28 inches, I'm just going to cut that front piece from my fabric and I'm going to put it to the side. Now, I'm going to take the fabric, okay, for my front piece, and I'm just going to place it on top of what is going to be my back piece. Well, my backing, okay? So I, again, am going to take that first piece that I've cut with the 28 inches added for the front, and I'm going to place it on the back. Keep in mind that I said I was adding 28 inches of length for the front. Now, if you want your back to be the same as the front, cool. But I'm going to add me about, I want to say 10 more inches to the back. So that means instead the back is not going to be 28 inches. The back is going to be 38 inches added on, the same way that I did for the front. I got my two pieces honey bun. It's going to get time for us to make us a little quick pattern. Now I got my pattern paper from, I believe, Michael's, or you can get your pattern paper from Wally World. This is clearly not as wide, or as some people would like to call it, traditional pattern paper, but use what you got and use what you do, okay? It still can work. So I am just going to be taking the paper and I am going to be pushing it all the way down and out. And I'm going to do 2 pieces because, as you can see, this paper is not wide. So how I'm going to connect those 2 pieces, I'm going to put some tape on the middle. Once you have set your paper up, you can see where this black marker is. I've traced my pattern. So now I'm just going to go ahead, and I've also labeled where front 28 is. This is a good rule of thumb when you're making patterns and stuff like that, to always label if it's a medium or whatever, so you won't get it confused. I literally already traced my pattern, and now I'm going to get ready to add on that 28 inches. But what we are going to do is we are going to take from the corner. As you can see, I'm doing it kind of like an angle, almost like a pizza, and we are going to mark where that 28 inches is. After we mark where that 28 inches is, we are going to just draw a straight line and then cut out our official pattern. Now, this is not perfect. I don't know what it is about me. I just can't draw straight lines all the time, and that's okay. I ain't have my ruler near me, but when I cut it out, I bet you it's going to be straight. As you can see here, this gives that mermaid create effect, and you kind of want to just, for the bottom, give a little bit of a swoop, if that makes sense. You kind of want to give a little bit of an oval because you don't want your bottom to just be straight across. As you can see here, the paper is straight across, but when I cut it out, it's going to have that little curvature to it. Now, the same thing that I did for the front, I just did for the pattern piece for the backing. So that's why you don't see me doing it for the back, okay? After I cut out my 2 pieces, I'm going to take them, and now, honey buns, let's get started sewing. Let's get started. The first thing I like to do is start off by sewing the shoulder points. And then after we sew our shoulder together, then I'll show y'all how I typically do the arms. I've already sewed my arm on the right, so you can see what it's going to look like. But if you are new here, I typically, when I do my arms, I always start with pinning in the middle and pinning to the end. And I follow the same type of origin and ordeal when it comes to sewing and arm on. Now, for the honey buns that are coming back and already know this information, hip hip hooray and cheers to you, okay? Now, as you can see here, I'm taking my time in pinning because the curvature of the arm, but I'm going to show you how you sew it from middle to end, middle to end. Now, I'm going to start at the middle. I'm just going to take my pin out, and I'm going to take my time to make sure that I'm hitting all of the curve in that arm and that I'm not just sewing simply straight all the way down. And after I am done starting from the middle to the end, I'm just going to flip my arm on the other side and start from the middle to the end. Now that we have both of our arms sewed on, we are just going to match everything up and on top of each other, as you can see me here doing. The same method that I do for my arms when it comes to sewing is the same method that we're going to do here. We're going to start at our middle point, which is where the underarm is, and then we're going to go to our left, and then we're going to come back to the middle, and we're going to sew all the way down to our right, okay? So just take your time, because after you're done, this is what it should look like. And baby, you are basically 75% done with your dress. If you have a turtleneck that comes with your dress, as you can see me here doing, I've already went ahead and made my little collar piece. I'm just going to sew that on. But if you do not and are choosing not to put a collar or a turtleneck on your dress, that is perfectly fine. What's important for you to do is hem the neck and the arms and the bottom of your dress, so you can have that nice, neat finish. And even if you're putting a collar on, of course you want to hem the bottom, and of course you want to hem your arms. But if you are putting a collar on, this is exactly how you're going to do it, and you are going to follow that same method with starting at the middle and then to the end. After that, our last step is putting our zipper on. Now I'm showing you what the zipper looks like, because obviously there's many zippers out there and you do not want to get a heavy metal zipper that's for your jacket. This is specifically invisible and it just looks better. I'm showing you the two little pieces that are ahead of that zipper stopper, zipper starter piece. And what I just showed you right there is you can either cut them off, but it is best to fold them over and sew them down. Now you see where I'm starting to pin my zipper at? I'm starting where my zipper starts at, not where those little Go Lucky extra pieces of fabric are, okay? After I've laid my zipper down, I am just going to cut, and there is a pin to my stopping point. I'm going to start. Oh my gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied. Hold on. I'm going to cut to the stopping point, okay? Now, after that, as you can see where my pin is, all you are literally going to do is now sew your fabric on top of your zipper. Okay, honey buns, as you can see here, I've just folded a little bit, about half an inch of my fabric, like I was telling you guys before, over. And now I am sewing it down on my zipper, and I'm taking my time, and you want to take your time too, because you don't want to have your zipper bumbled all up in the back because you pulled it and stretched the fabric too much. You want your zipper to lay as flat, as you see right here, as it can be. And even if you make a mistake and your zipper is mumbled, you can, you can fix it. It's fixable, but take your time. Once I come to the ends of where my zipper is, I'm just going to turn my dress around, and then I'm going to do the same thing that I have done for one side. And as you can see here, I'm getting ready to pull that zipper up just a little bit, that way so I can have a more easier, sewing through there without sewing on top of the needle. Okay, honey buns, we are almost finished with our dress. I am so proud of you for making it this far, especially in Vlogmas. Like, you the bomb. Now, what we are going to do is finish off by hemming our arms if you have not done the bottom. And all you are going to do is take about a half an inch and sew that down on the inside of your arms. As you can see here, my hand is kind of covering a little bit. I didn't realize it was doing that, but you can see me making a straight line once I hit that half an inch. And it gives it just a nice, clean, professional finish, as you can see. Now, that was it for our Vlogmas videos today, honey bun. See y'all tomorrow.